Hi, everybody. Keith McGuire here. Mr. Hicks has joined me, and we are about to paint up a watercolor, a nice country scene, calling it The Road Less Traveled, as you will probably figure out as I'm painting it. Anyway, we're gonna start with the top half today, and it'll probably be in three parts. So we'll do the top, the bottom, and then we'll do a finish up. And I think it'll be three step three what do you call it? Three part series. There you go. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. First thing I'm gonna grab is a little bit of water, and I'm going to literally, all right, don't move it off the camera. I'm just gonna paint the entire sky without the trees. I mean, I'm just going to go right over the trees. Let's put it that way.
You would, too.
Yep, I don't care about trees. Dang it. Stupid trees. Nah, just kidding. But the trees will be dark enough that they will certainly show up. That'll work. And with the amazing power of Arch's 140-pound paper, all rag cotton, you let it dry, and you can just keep putting layer on top of layer until you get ridiculous. And then it finally does say, no, you can't do that anymore. So I've got it wet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create kind of a, I don't know, not quite stormy, but maybe a little bit stormy with some violets in it. So I'm going to start with my ultramarine blue, which I don't, oh, you can actually see it.
Yay.
Yay.
It's nice when we can see what the hell you're doing.
For once. All right. So, ultramarine blue. Now, to make this, see, it's a little bright and happy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of, believe it or not, yellow ochre into this.
Yes, because why would somebody want a happy painting?
No, we don't want it happy. I just said storms. Storms.
Gloomy, dark, disturbing.
Yeah. But the trees will look good, you know? All right, so I have kind of created, I'm going to make a little bit more just to be, I don't want to have to keep coming back. All right, so.
Maybe a dumb question, but is there a, not a rule, but like how do you learn how much paint to put on the pan for the area you want to cover in the painting so that you don't come up short, mix a new color, and not have it match?
That's the secret. I don't know, 20 years experience, 40 years, I don't know. Honestly, I think it, yeah, I've never gotten it right, so.
All right.
I don't know. I'm
Make more than you think you'll need just in case.
Exactly. And like I said, I swear to God, I don't think I've ever gotten it right. I try. So as you can see, this isn't quite as wet as it's supposed to be. There. All right. There we go. Looks like I missed a chunk. Anyway, what I'm doing is it's wet. I'm dropping this color in, kind of in little patches. The trick is I don't want this to all fill in because I want some white. Boy, this is drying a lot faster than I thought. Let me get this real quick. There we go. The idea is I like to kind of run it in streaks. And I like to do kind of diagonals. So it looks like, a storm zooming up on you a little bit. But this isn't a ridiculous storm. This is just, inclement weather. So I got some of that bluish gray in there now. I love this. This is kind of something I remembered from a long time ago. And all of a sudden, I love this color. It's a great, not quite poopy day. Sounds weird, but I forgot that ultramarine blue mixes with a lot of colors in a way that you don't expect it to do. It's a great color. I love it. And like I said, you would think this would be green. It ain't. So, like I said, it's a different, I don't know, it behaves differently. All right, so now I'm going to take a little ultramarine blue. I ain't going to need a lot. And just a wee bit of mauve or mauve. I don't know how you say it. Mauve. How do you say it? Mauve.
I'm not going to try. I'll butcher it.
Fine. Nice. Mauve. No.
Pinkish red.
Pinkish red. Yes, exactly. So I like adding that to the ultramarine blue. You get a little bit of a violet color. And it's a nice kind of, like I said, stormy sky, but it's not as bad as you think, So while it's still wet, you just kind of drag your brush through a little bit. Again, trying not to fill in everywhere. And a lot of this is going to get covered by tree, too, so. Anyway, or some trees. Now, I think that violet's a little too bright. I'm going to try to mix in a little bit of the other color just to see if we can tone it down a little bit. Yeah, it did. And notice I'm just little plops of paint. The idea is don't fill in the whole thing because it'll fill in itself. See, I like this in here. This looks all kind of fun. Angry sky. Put a little more in. I want a little more up here too. And as it dries, you can look at it and make decisions. I like watercolors that look like watercolors. I think that's what's kind of fun about it. So, it's not a coloring book where it's got to be just so. And we've got to fill in between the lines. That comes later, but.
I was going to say, that's what Crayola taught me.
Yeah. They are gods,
Oh. They said, here's your little watercolor coloring book in 7 colors of paint. And it was fill it in completely. Follow the numbers.
And then later on came, what was his name?
Bob Ross?
Bob Ross, yes. I'm sorry. No, he can't hold a candle to Crayola.
Well, no. And I couldn't buy a Bob Ross acrylic art or oil paint kit at CVS or Arbor Drugs or wherever I was getting the Crayola ones from.
Although, I still see those every once in a while. Someone's still producing that stuff,
Yep.
You can tell it's from 20, 30 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
Typefaces on that,
Oh, I love it because I'm a fan of Alex Toth. And Toth was a comic book artist, but he also did a lot of the character designs for a lot of our 80s and late 70s cartoons.
Oh.
And what you didn't realize, because they didn't put credit on that stuff, some of them old coloring books are Alex Toth art that they just dumbed down a little bit more. And it's some of the purest forms of his original art that you can get a hold of.
I was at the market the other day, and I picked up a coloring book. I just, because I'm always looking for stuff for kids to draw, right? And I popped it open. I'm like, holy crap, this is really good. You know, I mean, it was good art. I'm wondering if it was his stuff.
No, because his is the old style, very fine lines, almost no detail. But he worked perfectly for that coloring book style because that's what he was doing for the animation character designs, because they wanted the characters as simplified as possible and still retain the identifying characteristics, and he was great at that. So, you know, how do you get Superman with 3 colors and an S? Well, Alex Toth showed you, and then they turned it into coloring books because...
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I love this. So, I don't know if you can see it, but you get that, you find a little edge, and you can drop a little water. Like if you don't want to lose your whites, you might lose a little bit of it, but what's going to happen is that water is going to push stuff around. Anyway, I'm gonna stop with that right about there. I'm just gonna play with a little bit of water. What the heck? It's behind the tree's gonna cover it anyway. I just wanna, if I can demonstrate a little bit here of what you can do. But I don't know. I had a student today say, "Oh, Mr. McGuire, I thought all blooms are bad, you know? Not when they're clouds, right?" So, anyway, I love blooms.
Huh. I wouldn't have thought that, because I would have thought blooms look really good with flowers and... Ooh, I just got a treat.
What?
Thank you.
Not fair. Oh! Oh! I can't go on. No. Oh, nice.
I gotta lay it on thick. Yeah.
All right, fine. The other thing, if you feel like you possibly, you know, kind of overdid it with the color and you want to get some of that white back, as long as it's wet, you can still kind of go in and take a paper towel and maybe yank a little bit out, which I did right there, and I kind of like that. So I'm going to stop right here. I am going to go and blow dry this real quick. So we'll be back, you know, in a second. And it'll be dry, and you'll be amazed. Okay, so I gave it away, didn't I?
I'm already amazed.
Yeah, all right. You're just happy you got a treat. So we'll be back. Okay, as you can see, there's no more droplets of water. It's kind of dried up now. I did get a little interesting patch here as it dried. It did a little funny thing, but I'm gonna play with that later on. I don't want to mess with it now. What I want to do right now is continue with the background more or less and start doing some trees. So let me grab a slightly smaller brush. There we go. Before we do the trees, though, I forgot we do have some background here. We got a little mountainous background or very hilly background. I don't know. Anyway, so I am going to, once again, pull out my ultramarine blue. And this time I'm going to use a little bit of burnt sienna. Are you eating?
No.
No? Dang it.
No, you were too fast. I was trying to get some other stuff done.
Oh, okay. Like,
so in a second here, everybody's going to hear my printer go.
Oh, okay. That's okay. I'll be painting loudly. How's that? So, I am not going to wet this and, you know, drop the color in. It's a small enough area that you can just kind of paint and go. Okay, what do we got here? Okay. Yep. So we got a little vegetation in front here. I hear somebody's printer.
I've got a love-hate relationship with this thing. Wow, that didn't print anything close to what it was supposed to. What the hell? Ay, ay, ay. You're going to get to hear it one more time, because technology sucks.
Yeah, but it's not that loud, so...
Yeah, it's probably because of the microphone I've got. Makes it easier.
So you had some kind of incredible sound buffers?
Pretty close. I mean, well, it's a directional microphone, so it doesn't...
okay.
It doesn't pick up a lot of surrounding, like, so you don't hear my furnace kick on or the air conditioner or, you know, Andrea or Allison are yakking, you know, somewhere nearby sometimes.
So what this means is you have a life.
What do you mean?
And a wife.
Yes.
And a kid.
Yep.
I'm just sitting by myself.
Well, maybe if you painted more happy stuff.
Listen, this is gonna get happy. Just hang on. All right, so kinda, right?
Kinda.
Yeah. Anyway, you can see I just while it's drying, you can kind of put little creases and things in your hills. Look, creases. But yeah, that looks pretty good. All right. So now,
don't worry, guys. One day I will get him to paint a sunset with a beautiful fall colors, and it'll be the most vibrant painting he's ever done.
I got a little problem right here. I'm actually lifting some of the color. I can use a Mr. Clean scratchy pad. Let me see, I got one real quick. I'll be
Notice
back.
how he ignored me in my comment?
Yeah, I didn't hear you. What? Weren't you drinking or eating something? I thought you were chewing on something. All right. Anyway, so the paint got a little heavy right there. So I'm just going to pull some of that off, because that's supposed to be tree, and I got a pretty hard line going through there. So I got rid of it. Ta-da. Thank you, Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. All right. What's the name of that? Melanine?
Yeah, melanine sponge. So if you get the Mr. Clean ones, like, they have a little bit of chemical cleaners and stuff mixed in, and they're not 100% pure. So you got to be careful. If you do a search for melamine sponge, you get the pure melamine without anything else added in, and those are what I prefer. Plus, they're significantly cheaper because you're not paying for the name brand.
But it's Mr. Clean.
Yeah.
Isn't he stronger than dirt? No, that was somebody else, wasn't it? Oh God, I'm old. I just thought of that. Yep, pretty old. Oh, come on, stronger than dirt. What was that, Ajax?
Maybe. No, Ajax was... No, that's...
It was a guy on a white horse.
That's the kitchen helper.
Yeah, the white horse, he'd come roaring up with his lance and zap them, and they'd all become clean.
I know what you're talking about. I just can't picture the brand that went with it.
Yeah, that's a weird. Stronger than dirt. I remember. Anyway, so now we have something that people can comment on, right?
Yes. Yeah, let us know if you remember that commercial and who it was.
Yeah. That way we don't have to look anything up. We're
lazy. You Google it.
We're lazy, yeah. All right, we're about to start the trees now. I'm going to start in the corner over here. I'm just going to hit it with a lot of paint. I'm leaving some spots where the sky kind of shines through. But for the most part, most of this over here is going to be dark. But it's green and not dead.
It is a very pretty green.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see you muddy it up and get it 40% later.
This is sap green. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention what it is. I'm just using it pretty straight right now, and he's right. I'm gonna slop other colors over top of it, so be prepared.
You can't trick me. It's not my first time watching you paint.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right. So we got like a nice base coat in there. What I like to do is with a little smaller brush is don't leave big lumps of just rounded corners. Drag some of this out. Make it give your tree a little bit of little air around it.
Now I gotta buy 2 brushes?
Yes.
Look,
they're plastic. That was the one thing I couldn't figure out. All those companies would give people the little plastic brush with the plastic bristles and say, here, paint with this, Anyway, so you can see I just drag out a little, a few branches and stuff just to get it going. The other thing, too, is what I am going to do is this is some vegetation in front of this block of trees here. So it's a little bit of, just shrubbery, some maybe some pines. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a fairly dark green to this because I kind of want this to be different from this. I'm trying to break it up a little bit. So I'm going to paint a happy little squirrel here. Boy, my brushes are... I got to stop letting the kids play with them.
Yeah. Your squirrels look a lot like pine trees.
I know. That's what I was saying. It's the kids. It's their fault. We're going to do a happy little squirrel. Sure. All right. And I kind of didn't want these pine trees to look like they were that far away. So I'm going to kind of make them a little bigger, a little fatter around. I want them to be a little closer and not, pine trees way in the distance, because they're not. I want them in the foreground here. They're in front of this other trees. So I just kind of get a little more color here. Yeah. I like the contrast. All right. What am I doing? I'm just kind of laying in some darks. Now I will go in and detail out a little bit, but not a ton. I just want to get... If you'll notice, I'm working very diligently to not paint my fence posts. And basically, it's not that hard. Just straight up and down, work straight up and down. Okay. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to come back to the very dark green again. And I'm going to see if I can just add a little more darker value. I've got all this green and I'm working way up in the corner there. Okay, now I'm going to start bringing some more color up into this area. Just kind of breaking it up a little bit. Cool. All right. Now I'm going to let that set up. Okay. I might
Okay.
get rid of that. I might be sad I did, but you never know. All right. Okay, cool. So all I'm going to do is move over to this tree now. Now this tree, you can see I left some air in here, so you can actually see the branches and a lot of the sky through the tree. Not all trees are so dense that they... So I like to have a little air in these things. This one too, I'm kind of ever so gently kind of wetting the surface, not real wet, but just enough to kind of moisten the paper a little bit so that the paint will kind of move and it'll be soft and romantic. That's it. Yeah. It's like, what kind of novels are you reading?
You read. That's funny.
Hey, good science fiction is good science fiction. Now, I don't want to hit everywhere, okay? But as you can see, I'm just kind of dabbing in the green into the wet areas a little bit. Some of it's strong, some of it isn't. The idea behind this is we're going to go ahead and add detail to this. The darks are going to become the foreground in this image, this tree. You'll see what I'm talking about once I do it. But right now, I don't want it too dark. And like I said, I want it a little bit soft. And that's the trick with watercolors, is to, I think the trick is to use both the very soft and the very sharp images together to create something that's, it's just, to me, it's a little different than any other medium. Quit bragging, Keith. Cool.
Yes, we get it. Your watercolors are so special.
That, to me, they are, yes. What?
Yeah?
Anybody that knows me I have finally accepted I'm as good as I am,
Uh,
and I'm happy with that. Doesn't mean I'm not trying to improve, but I don't think I stink anymore. Secretly in my 12-year-old self.
oh, well, then you're not a real artist anymore.
Yeah, no, not true. I have
Because all real artists hate their own work.
no. What happens is eventually, after after you hate your stuff for many years, you sell out and and go for it. You know, come on,
Uh,
think about it.
I thought that was mostly after you died.
No, there's no profit in it for me.
Well, yeah, but that's when you're most valuable.
When I'm dead, I know my brother Victor has several of my paintings. He's waiting, just waiting. My aim is to outlive him. That's all. My only goal.
So when you die, you can be like, "See, your paintings are still worthless."
Yeah, thanks. My biggest fear is going to a store and finding my art at a garage, not a garage sale, but like a, what do you call them?
Like a
Goodwill.
thrift store.
Yeah, Goodwill or a Starvation Army. That's not nice. They do good things.
Ooh, that'd be fun. I should check some of the YouTube channels, see if anybody's grabbed any of your stuff, and then like, because there's a big trend where they take an existing painting and then they paint maybe superheroes or fantasy scenes like dragons and stuff over top of it.
Oh man, that's mean.
You find your sea turtles somewhere, and they
Yeah,
ended
with,
up painting in
Aquaman.
Little Mermaid and Aquaman. Yeah.
Yeah, Little Mermaid and Aquaman. Yeah. So as you can see, now I'm going to start putting in some of the darks. All right. You got to wait for it to the wet stuff to dry before you go in and start, trying to do the next step, because it's going to involve some fine lines, branches, things like that. Meanwhile,
At the Hall of Justice.
yeah, trying to figure out where can I keep painting. I guess I can keep going right down the hill. So show you a little trick. So take a bunch of paint. I'm going to paint the top of this little tree or shrubbery. I'm going to load it up with a little bit of paint. And then that's going to be my well. So I can just drag the paint down. It's a nice thing about fence posts. They're straight and don't got a lot of work to do. And like I said, there's enough paint up there to grab and just pull down. Oops. I think I killed a pole. Maybe not. That one fell over. Cool. And we don't really want to paint those poles back there. As you can see, they actually stick out very nicely in front of this bit of greenery. All right. So I'm going to punch in a little color here and there. Yeah, that'll work. Oops. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm grunting as I'm painting. Now, you're old. That's when you're old. Because when you sit down, you grunt, everything, you know? Now I'm like, ugh, I finished that one. Excellent. All right. So at this point, I'm just going to straighten up these edges down here, add a little value at the bottom. And even I'll take a little, just lift a little of that off so I have a little more light on the top of that. Yeah. Yeah, that's the ticket. All right. Meanwhile, back over at the first chunk of trees we were working on, I'm going to grab that dark again. Very dark. It's a dark green. Can't quite remember the name of it. Cascade. Cascade green. And so I think you can see what I'm trying to do is get that guy a little bit closer. Okay. I'll just let that go for a little bit. I can't. Trouble is, you gotta let things dry so it can set. Then you can keep going. Well, why are you still going?
Why aren't we working on the trees on the other side of the barn?
Because that's a hill.
Oh. You
And
put a
there are-
hill in front of another hill?
Yep. Yep. It's one of those special things. Yeah, special. See this? See what happened here? I drop in a little bit of water, blooms. I get what I wanted. I get that little dark surface. Then it's a little lighter where the sun or whatever is hitting it, or whatever. Okay. So, ooh, okay. I think this is dry enough. I'm gonna. Oh, I just added some over here, so I'm gonna come back over to this tree real quick. And I'm going to grab a little bit of, I'm hoping indigo. It is. I'm going to add just a bit of the, once again, a bit of the burnt sienna. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. So I'm trying to get a grayish brown. How's that? But it's also got to be probably a little bit darker. I'm going to have to add a little more indigo to this. I don't want it to be brown. Everybody paints branches brown, it's like, no, they're not. Most of the time they're gray. And yes, there are some brown ones, but eh. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of come in here, hopefully. And I'm going to start putting in some of these larger branches in that area. It was kind of cleared out for just this occasion. All right. And the trick is trying to get it dark enough so that it shows up okay. The other thing is case you've forgotten, fat to thin, okay? You got to start out fatter and then try to work your way out to little delicate little fine lines. And honestly, it's not a big trick to it, but I think you got to practice, you know?
Man, you keep using that bad word.
But it's I get a little frustrated because people go right to their painting and I'm like, what? You've never done this before. Well, that's why we're here, Mr. McGuire. Yeah.
I can't learn how to do it just by watching you.
Yes, you can. Yes. That's why we're here, right? All right. And I don't know. The other thing is, too, trying to figure out what's easier for you. Going from thin to fat, fat to thin, you know? I was doing both just to see which one I liked. I liked both. I liked both. I wasn't having any problem with either way, so. But, honest, guys, I've done this before. So I got a nice set of branches going in here. And now, what I want to do is I want to put some vegetation in front of the branches. So it looks like, or sitting on the branches. So it looks like, you know, leaves, branches. So I'm trying to get a darker green. Let's give it a try. This is just the sap again, okay? And I might have to go even smaller. I'm just kind of uncoordinated today for some reason. Nope, too small. Yeah. I gotta find it in between. Let's try this one. So all I'm trying to do.
Where do you find these fine tip brushes? My Home Depot doesn't have anything this tiny. They're all like 2 inches.
These are from King Art or King's Art. King Art. Anyway, they have a set. You can buy them on Amazon, and they go on sale every once in a while, and it's really a great price. You get like 10 of them from a 2 to like a 16. For very reasonable, like $35 to $40. I know times change with, you know, but I bought 4 sets because I was using them, you know, for that price, and they're very nice. For that price, I can afford to let the kids use them, you know. So keep my secret stash of good one. Now here's the thing I did want to do was I didn't want to leave this all blue like that. So you do want to kind of come in. I'm putting a little behind. Just kind of fill it in a little bit more. And then I'm still trying to get the dark going. Let me get sap green. But I'm going to try the cascade again. I'm just trying to kind of wiggle my brush a little bit. Is there a name for this technique? No. I just dab it. Lots of dabbing. There you go. And like the other trees, I like to you pull off some of the vegetation, have it come out. It's the only tree that ever looks like it's perfectly solid the only one I've ever seen is a mango. Mangoes look exactly like how kids draw a tree. Big old trunk, super dense vegetation. Can't see through them. So you can see how the foreground, by using the dark, it's actually bringing it forward. Not pushing it back, but bringing it up closer to you. Then usually I'll go back in, I'll look at it, see where I can make it more interesting maybe. Yeah. All right. So we're getting towards the end of this session. I think it's kind of close enough. We're not going to do the barn. Let me do this real quick. I'm going to use a little ultramarine blue. Once again, I'm going to try that yellow ochre, and I'm going to gray this down. And then I'm going to do a little closer ground, and it's closer because it's just a little bit darker. I'll just keep going right down the little fence posts, leaving them white. We'll paint the foreground posts when we get to that, but we're leaving those other ones in the back white because they show up really good. Yeah. All right, so I got that a little bit darker. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of green to this to create its vegetation way off. It's grayed out, far away. Yeah. And then the last one, we just want to, I'm going to leave probably a little white line, which I'll fill in. I just want to kind of show you. Ooh, wrong color. Although, that might be nice. I just want a little green in this one. All right. When you're done with this painting, you'll go, I'm never going to do fence posts again. What was he thinking?
So I have maybe a dumb question.
Okay.
So the tree in the center got branches and has a defined trunk. Are you going to do branches on the tree that's coming in from the corner?
Yes. I just couldn't because I kept painting where my hand would land. So yeah,
Ah.
there will be more to that. If this dries up, this is pretty dry. So maybe I can at least go in and show you. And the idea behind these trees, this over here, is that it's not an individual tree. It's like a clump of trees. So that's why it's darker and filled in more. Wow. Nice tips. All right. Now, I'm just going to take my paper towel. I made it a little dark, but I'm just going to just take a little bit off, just so it a little more, you can see the white kind of shining through that section. All right. So I'm going to come over here real quick. Yep. And burnt sienna. And these are going to be like big, long. It's not like this one that has a big trunk that I haven't put in yet. These are just big, long, slender trees. You just want to kind of break them up a little bit, have some of the branches coming up and out. And I do recommend, you know, the bigger trunks and stuff, you know, if you don't quite get it all in at once, you can always go back in. But the little guys, I wouldn't sweat the small stuff. Oh no, we're tipping. You just kind of go in and do some, and all that heavy, you know, thick kind of pasty paint I put on there, all of a sudden now it's like canopies. Canopies. You just can keep playing with this. You can attach little branches to here and there. But I think you get the idea. So we're going to stop here, okay? And
Fine.
Mark's thrilled. He's like, what am I going to do now? All right, I'll probably have to work.
I'll have to watch old episodes on R.K. McGuire's YouTube channel.
Exactly. It's where you can learn. And you can do that down here too. You get a few little branches and sticks and twigs kind of come up. See? Ain't that cute? All right. Anyway, let's call it quits here. So next time we'll do the bottom. We'll get the road in. We'll get the grass in and the barn, and then and that trunk. Yeah, we'll get that too. And then we'll do like the last one will be a kind of like a touch up, trying to get everything done. You know, what gets you to a finished painting, you know? So that'll be the last step. So yeah, who knows, right? Anyway, thank you very much. We'll be back real quick. So
all right, guys, before we go, if you haven't already, check the description of the video. There are links to the original black and white sketch so you can follow along or create your own variation. There is a list of materials as well as Keith's website where prints and things of that nature are available. So we thank you for your support, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Yay! Thank you, and bye-bye.